a far-right party winning a state election in Germany for the first time since the Nazis, raising questions about Germany's political future.
Anyway, how are you? So, got loads of questions again. Some of them mental. Some of them from cats and dogs. I'm not going to get through them all, but I've just got the first ones. Tired, straight away. I'll tell you why, right? It's not just the hot bath and the stingy eyes and that I'm old, right? It's the fact that I've got a frozen shoulder coming. Now, if you remember, about 10 years ago, this one was frozen, right? For about 18 months. You have like 6 months of agony. If you touch it, it feels like your arm's coming out of its socket and you've been electrocuted and you fall on the floor and cry in agony. I used to wake up screaming where I'd rolled on it, right? And this one's getting it now, 10 years later. You can only have one in each shoulder, apparently. I don't know why. So this one's safe. And when this is over, that's it. I can sort of lift it to there. And it's got to the phase now where I'm not sleeping. It's been about a week where there's nowhere you can lay because your weight of your own shoulder, you can't lay on it. You can't even lay on the other side because the weight of the shoulder squeezes all the badness. I'm not a doctor. I've had some acupuncture, which is sort of temporary. That's as far as I can go. I couldn't be a Nazi, could I? Can't get above there. So anyway, that's why I'm tired. I've been having to schedule things around definitely having a nap at lunchtime because I know I wouldn't have slept well.
Tonight, a political taboo has been shattered. A far-right party winning a state election in Germany for the first time since the Nazis, raising questions about Germany's political future and setting off alarm bells about the far-right's rise across Europe and beyond. The Alternative for Germany Party, or AfD, taking first place in the East German state of Thuringia and second in neighboring Saxony. The AfD, formerly accused by German intelligence of being an extremist group in both states. Front pages in Germany calling it a political earthquake and a slap by Germany's east. It's horrible. I find it unbelievable, this Berlin resident says. The AfD playing on fears about migration, especially by Muslim immigrants, and rallying opposition to foreign aid to Ukraine and to high costs of living.
Parts of East Germany feel that they've been left behind. They feel like they are not necessarily getting their part of the pie.
The AfD leader in Thuringia telling supporters at his victory party, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then you win. One of the biggest losers, Chancellor Olaf Scholz, whose deeply unpopular center-left party hemorrhaged votes. Some of his coalition partners didn't even meet the 5% threshold to serve in parliament. Scholz calling the results worrying, telling Reuters the AfD is ruining Germany's reputation. But the elections won't immediately change the way Germany is governed, in part because Germany's mainstream parties are vowing to block the AfD from forming a governing coalition. Tonight, AfD's leaders calling that threat undemocratic, saying Chancellor Scholz should take the hint and pack his bags. The election also bringing shocking success for the far left, including a brand new party, the BSW, that came in third in both states. Its leader, a former communist, echoing the far right in rejecting Germany's old guard of centrists, saying the message has arrived, people want change. It's a populist message voters have been sending more and more forcefully across Europe and even in the US. In the UK, the far-right Reform UK gaining ground, its leader Nigel Farage elected to parliament for the first time in July. And in France, the right-wing National Rally gaining dozens of seats, more than ever before, and leaving French government gridlocked for months.
Should we expect more voters across Europe to take a gamble in the future on the far right?
I think you're already seeing it. And by the way, our election is coming up in November, and it's a very similar situation here, I believe.
The big question now is what all of this means for Germany's national elections set to take place next year, and whether the rest of the country will follow this sharp shift to the right. Olaf Scholz has said he plans to run again for chancellor next year, but this election dealt such a blow to Germany's centrists that there are questions now about whether his governing coalition can even hang on until next year.
So yeah, that's my problem. I know there's bigger problems in the world, but we've all got our own. That's why when some fucking idiot on Twitter goes, "Oh, Ricky, why aren't you speaking out against the atrocities in the world. I want to go because I've got a fucking frozen shoulder. All right? I don't. I ignore them. Right. Questions. And I don't want to take painkillers because the ones that work, I think they're addictive and you end up, you know, going mental. So I'm just going to just wait a year for it to get better. And Jane has to help me on now with a cardigan or a jacket. That's no good, is it? Fuck's sake. Like an old dog, I am. I am like a dog, actually. I'm like a wizard turned a dog into a human. I sit on the floor all day because I can't sit on the couch and I've got my trainers on and I can't be able to take my trainers off. Right? I go for a long walk. The other night, Jane was doing something. I heard a rattle. I went, "What are you eating?" She went, "I'm doing the recycling." I was just thinking, walk, snacks. I love a wee. You know that. I had about 5 wees last night because I wake myself up in agony and I think, oh, I might as well have a wee because I don't want to be... Is this entertaining? Fucking hell. Oh, that's the good thing about thoughts in your head. No one else can see them. So even if you think, oh my God, I seem mental, you probably don't, unless you are mental, and then you do. If you are mental, you seem it. See, mental people think, oh, no one knows I'm mental, and we're going, yeah. Whereas I'm presumably not mental, because I'm thinking, oh, do I sound mental? Again, this is not medical advice. I can't stress that enough. Oh God. Good. Thank you. Thanks for following. Be nice to animals. Retweet some stuff. I'm tired. My frozen shoulder. That's as far as I can get it. Oh. Tatty bye, everyone. Tatty bye. I'd forgotten that lyric. It really sums up my attitude at the moment. Wish everybody would leave me alone. That is, I don't know, the way the world's going. I just want to be left alone. I don't do anything anymore. Can't be bothered. I can't be bothered. This is why we can't have nice things. People are never happy. You try your hardest. Yeah. I wouldn't call it street life now, though. I call it home life. I just want to be, I want to stay here. It's bad now. Doesn't matter what it is. I just turn down going to everything now. Even like nice things, like, you know, like a party, award show, and I would go, oh, I can't. I'm giving the orphanage. COVID, I've got COVID. Oh God. Oh, cough. See? I tested yesterday. Right. Yeah. I was forced into this. Dogs and cats going, you doing a thing tonight? Yeah. I am. What's been happening? Right, here's some questions. Titch was straight in. If they invent a device that allowed you telepathically to talk to dogs, would you spend all day over Hampstead Heath stalking dogs? And do you know what I'm thinking in this pic? You're thinking Borley, biscuit, pigeon. Just like that in your head. Yeah, that'd be amazing if I could talk to dogs, wouldn't it? I'd use them as an army, I think. That's if someone was annoying me. I go, and I roar, the dogs would come like that, and I go, ooh, like that. And he'd run away. Christine, what 3 things in your life bring you the most happiness? Well, I assume you don't mean friends, family, spouses and all that. That would be obvious, wouldn't that? Would use them all up, wouldn't it? So apart from that, take that as a given. Work. I like doing the work. Even though I know people who complain, I still enjoy doing that. I enjoy coming up with stuff, and I go, this will annoy people. So I enjoy the work, or the creativity, I should say. I enjoy I enjoy coming up with ideas and doing them and that, and I can't wait to. I'm doing some new stuff. Next week, new material. I love that bit of it. I get excited about that. Come up with a new idea, but then I want to go. I don't do anything else ever again. Then you start thinking of all the admin you've got to do. It takes ages, like a year's work for half hour on telly, and people watch it, and some people go, "Oh, it was good." Some people go, "Yeah, it was alright." Some people go, "I didn't like it." Some people go, "I'm gonna write a letter to the BBC." Well, actually, I wish I missed those days. That's why there's so much more complaining these days. Because 20 years ago, if you wanted to complain about something, you'd get out a pencil and paper and you go, "Dear BBC, I can't be bothered. What am I doing? Let's have a cup of tea." Right? Brilliant. Right? Now they can fire a tweet off, and someone goes, "Yeah, dude." Suddenly it's like a thing. It shouldn't be a thing. It shouldn't be a thing. Turn the telly off. I didn't like this. Who can I tell? Don't tell anyone. Just don't watch it again. What 3 things? So, creativity. My work that I do, it just happens to be my job, but I love that, coming up with stuff. Dogs, animals in general, I suppose animals. Nature. Creativity, nature. Playing tennis. I look forward to that all week, like 1 hour. If it rains, I'm furious. I need a tennis court in my house in London so I can play every day. Even against a wall, like a really sad kid. I'd be happy with that. I'd be happy with half a tennis court and a big wall. Because then I could play tennis and I wouldn't have to meet anyone or arrange anything. Like a proper little mad recluse. That's how I taught myself. After school, by myself in the gym, hitting against a wall. Yeah. So, creativity, animals, tennis, wine. That's 3. Right. Max and Muffin. Did you consciously move your foot when you were talking about Lisa in Afterlife? His friend, but this is Max and Muffin, and his friend's a widower, said that they tap their foot when they're talking about their wives. I don't know if I did it specifically because of that. I'm pretty sure I didn't, but like if you're getting emotional and you're anxious, I think you do fidget, like to control it. You're trying to control things. I don't know. I don't know if that's true, but I usually do act. If I'm sad, I do. My lips quiver and you fidget because you're embarrassed and you're nervous and you're thinking. I also think I do it because you're childlike, because you're vulnerable, you're worried, and you want comfort. So a lot of people, when they're really emotional, they revert almost, like they're weak because they need comfort. So I did do it consciously, but I didn't do it specifically, like about being a widower. But yeah, I'm fascinated with body language. I think it's not done enough in acting. They just say the words, but and put teardrops in. But I just think it's more than that. It's like there's a lot goes on. Like so much is non-verbal and tells and gives give things away that you're really thinking and not what you're actually saying. So I'm fascinated with the psychology of body language. Yeah, and that's very nice that people have noticed. Gunnar, what are the necessary components for defining consciousness? The necessary components for defining it? Well, words. I have to use words. Well, it is a tricky one. I still don't think people quite understand what consciousness... A definition of consciousness, in layman's terms, and I don't say that like I'm not a layman, I am a layman. Although what people don't realise is, right, because I talk to cats and dogs, and I say stupid, and I look like a bag of shit as well, right? And I've got a stupid Reading accent, and I look thick and old and drunk, right? Right? They don't realise that I have got an honours degree from a top university in philosophy, okay? And discussion of consciousness was one of the first things I remember when I did my degree, discussing Descartes. Now Descartes, a French fella, and he was pondering. This is probably the single most famous phrase in philosophical circles. I'm sure you've heard of it. Cogito ergo sum. It means I think, therefore I am. And where it comes from was Descartes was going, how do I know this is real? How do I know I'm even alive? What if this is like like a dream? None of this is real. I'm not really here. And he went through all that. I went, well, it could be a dream. But then he went, oh, but hold on. Even if it's not real, but I'm dreaming it, I must be alive to have these thoughts. I think, therefore I am. I'm thinking, therefore I must exist. And consciousness is an individual's awareness of oneself in the world. That's all it is, really. It's the fact that we're feeling thoughts, we're feeling we're alive. Maybe it's not even a self-awareness, because I assume there are loads of examples of animals that are conscious, but they're not thinking, oh, I'm a nice little frog. But to explain it in any terms, it must be the awareness of that even if you can't put it into language, it's the awareness of being, I'd say. There's probably philosophers out there and neuroscientists and psychologists going, you don't know what you're talking about, Gervais. Well, that may be so, but at least I'm saying it like I know what I'm talking about. And that is all that matters these days. People are so confident they've got a good point or original thought. The worst thing at the moment is this myth that all new ideas are good. It's just not true. There's people go, oh yeah, come on, it's a new idea. Get with the program. This is the future. No. Loads of ideas are, and they have a go up and they go, hey, let's go back to the way. Loads of ideas. Everyone who's had a new idea thought, that's a good idea, isn't it? No, it's not. It might not be. It's a idea. I bet loads of people, like years ago, were going, oh, get with the program, Grandad. Communism's a brilliant idea. No, it's not. Same with fascism. No, they were new ideas once, weren't they? Fascism, communism, they're all new ideas. Brilliant. No, they're not all new ideas. Not all progress is good. Sometimes you go, what are we doing? Why did we do this? It's bollocks. Oh, God. I mean, the internet, that seems like a good idea at the moment. I think soon we're going to fucking turn it off. This. Apparently, in one of the plagues, the Black Death, they thought it was the smell. They thought the disease was carried on smell. So you've got they made these big sort of weird sort of suits that were like leather things with like a beak that was packed with like posies and flowers because they thought the smell couldn't get in. What's weird is it worked. Because what they didn't realise was it was actually carried on fleas, but the fleas couldn't bite them. So they thought this suit was working, and it was working, but only because the fleas couldn't bite them, because they were keeping out the smell. It's good, isn't it? I could do that. Oh, I'd be useless. That's a good question, that. Julia, what or who was your inspiration for the annoying English teacher? He was brilliant in an awful way, yeah. Played by the great Tim Key, one of Diane's dates. The joke, though, often those little things are my excuse to do like a sketch about a type. So it wasn't based on anyone, but the joke, the sketch was very simple, classic comedy sketch writing was, what if you took your job home with you? Classic. What if a teacher, you know, like a teacher is at school, what if he was like that at home? Classic comedy. So he couldn't get out of how he treated children with an adult. Elbows, sit up. That was the joke. Then you just build things around him, make him pompous, make him rude to waiters, make him sort of arrogant, make him, you know, think that he's a genius. But that was the inspiration. What if a policeman was a policeman at home? You know? And it's just classic old sketch writing. Leslie. Armageddon is about the end of the world. Yeah, that's my next stand-up after Supernature. I've done Supernature, but that's not going to be out for months. That's on Netflix. They're putting that into 160 languages, so people can complain in every country in the world. But my next one is Armageddon. My question is, did you find your head was just bursting with so many ideas for this subject? Yeah, it was. So the basic premise of this is, it's me. I'm going to talk about all the different ways humanity will be wiped out, and I'm sorry that I'm not around to see it. So a cheery subject. So it take on everything from, you know, are we going to destroy ourselves from ideas, politics, war, greed, famine, global warming, a meteor, you know, whatever, zootropic diseases. So it's all about that, all those fun things, but me sort of laughing about it and being a bit smug that I'll be dead, but sorry that I'd like to see it. I've got my first new material night, Tuesday, just going to go down and just try stuff out, really. I haven't really written routines, but I've got, you know, the odd observation and gag, and my chums are going to help me out. So, very exciting. Nancy, when you stay in a hotel somewhere, do you secretly take things from the hotel room? Like the soap, shampoo, tea bags? I do. I don't take those things. I take a pen, because I like the fact that it's got the name of the hotel and the city often. Like, you know, Four Seasons, Paris, or whatever. Now they'll be on the phone. They're going, where's that pen? I don't know. You says on the bollocks gang, you nick our pen. I went, no. didn't know they said, Nancy said she nicks tea bags and shit. But you did stay with us and you nick our pen. I go, no. I did that. Can't prove it. Casper and Yuri. Why are there no cats in Afterlife? I'll tell you. Because they can't act. Simple as that. They can't act. Dogs can act, can't they? They do what they're told. Cats don't. Cats won't do what they're told. The best you can hope from a cat is that it just sits there, if that's what you want. But you can't write cat walks across. Fuck, he's fucked. He's sat down. He's licking his. Right, cut. So that's your answer. And there is one. Is it Ep 3? Series 2? The sort of lady who's lost her husband and daughter, and she's got a little cat, played by Sid the cat. I think his name is Frank in the thing. I've got a different chair, but it's too slidey. I keep sliding down like that. It's too slidey. So yeah, there are cats. There's one cat in Afterlife, and it just had to sit there so that you could do that. Keena, how does it feel to receive such an overwhelming response from different parts of the world? I think it is utterly phenomenal. It is. It's mental. I talk about it to some of the cast, and none of us have ever done anything like this for the reaction, the amount of people. And it's not just the viewing figures, they're mental. I mean, they are mental. When you think about the people get excited about what, you get on telly, right? And it's like 20 times that. It's mad, right? But I can't take credit for that. Netflix has got to take some of the credit for that. Well, and the people that watched it, of course. And word of mouth is the best. Word of mouth is still the best. And particularly because it's always there. It's not like it's gone, like if it's on telly or, or you got to buy the DVD or something. It's always there. So people are visiting it like it's the first day it's out. People discovering it every day. And every day people finish the whole series or start the series. But what's different about this is the depth of the connection. Obviously, people like the jokes and, they like all the comedy characters like Brian and Ratty and all that. But I'd say 9 out of 10 compliments are people saying, they cried or they connected with the character or something. And the best thing about it is, because it's had hundreds of millions of views, right? Some people don't even know the other stuff I've done. Some people are sort of coming of age. They weren't born when The Office was out. So they're going, I didn't... Or some people are going, I hated The Office, but I love this. And then they go back and watch Derek that they didn't watch because they didn't like The Office or something. So it's just constant. It's a constant stream of people discovering it or me or Netflix. And it is a phenomenon. And but the best thing about it is it's the emotional connection, I think. Some people don't like it. Some people hate that. Some people go, oh, I ruined the comedy. But everyone's different. Of course they do. If you look at 10 things I've done and you ask 1,000 people to put them in order, it would be a different order. Everyone will put it in a different order. Some people will hate The Office, love Afterlife. Some people it's the other way around. Everyone is different. And no one thinks they're wrong. If you see people see a list, they go, well, that's a wrong list. It's not a wrong list. It's just not your list, mate. Everyone's different. It doesn't surprise me. It never surprises me what order people put my stuff in. I just think, well, yeah, because you're a person. So you're going to have it in your order. But people take it personally. You see it. I see it online when someone says, I hated The Office, I love this. People go, you're crazy, dude. I hated this, I love The Office. There's no argument. It's not a right or wrong answer. It's so weird. Because they take it, they think, oh, why isn't everyone the same as me? Why do people love that thing? I hate it. Or why don't people love that thing? I love it. So it is phenomenal, and overall, obviously, it's just amazing. And the important thing is that's the proof of the pudding, right? You know, I see these things that a few people rave about, and no one watches them because it's sort of like there's a snobbery. You're going to watch this thing. It's like you know, like the posh press or champion something, and then you look at it and you think, well, it's everyone in the world is equal. Everyone is just as valid. 1 million people watching something, you know, that's amazing to me. I realise more and more that I only care about the audience now. I used to love awards and reviews only because I wanted people to watch the show, but now I realise it's irrelevant now because social media. Like, more people are watching this than read a newspaper today. So, so I thank you. I thank the people at home for watching this sort of shit, retweeting things, watching Afterlife. Derek, you are the only. That you're the only ones that matter. It doesn't. Nothing else matters. And that's the thing as well, that I think the broadcasters are suddenly realising that in studios. They can put all the 5-star reviews and say won Oscars. Doesn't matter. Whereas if people watch something, they want a piece of it. They want that's all they care about deep down, because they only care about awards and reviews to get people to watch the thing. So if you go straight as a new advice I'd give to a new director, go straight to the public, go direct to the public, and that's what matters, and that'll stop you being a fucking snob and just worry about the ordinary people. I include myself in that, by the way. I'm an ordinary person. I'm not saying I'm special, far from it. But that's one of my pet hates. I see that. Celebrities definitely think they're a little bit better. They're not. They're worse. They're worse. Right. There you go. That was half hour of absolute, wasn't it? Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Buy a t-shirt. Buy something for charity. Help the dogs and cats, all animals. Be nice to animals. And cheers. Tatty bye, everyone. Tatty bye.
To hear the words spoken, you do not have the right to remain silent. That terrible wound from which you saw Charlie Kirk's life's blood leaving his body was not the entry wound, but was an exit wound. And that is now proven beyond peradventure. Now that's important, because if that was the exit wound and the entry wound came from the other side, that means Tyler ain't the shooter. And it means that gun isn't the murder weapon. And you have to ask yourself, if they're lying about the shooter, if they're lying about the murder weapon, they're lying about the whole thing. It's obvious. They're trying to tell you a furry. My God, I never thought I'd live long enough to know what a furry was. And I now know more about furries than I ever wanted to know. A furry whose boyfriend, girlfriend is a trans, and who was found wandering on a roof, but didn't have a weapon that was found in the woods. He's the patsy, all right. He may even believe that he was involved in it. He may have been told it was a Nicolas Cage movie. He may have been told anything, but he wasn't the shooter. And that weapon with the scope on wrong, such that it would have blown his eye out if he'd fired the shot from a Mauser. That wasn't the murder weapon. The murder weapon came from far more up close and personal. And personal may be a vital qualifier in the statement I have just made. Because it seems to me that who killed Charlie Kirk knew Charlie Kirk, and maybe knew him very well.
This week, George Galloway was detained under the Terrorism Act at Gatwick Airport. Held for 9 hours, his electronics seized, even his wife's Palestinian-coloured fingernails were scrutinised. This was a blatant act of political intimidation. part of the UK's increasingly draconian assault on anyone who speaks up for Palestine. It's not an isolated case. Investigative journalists like Asa Winstanley have had their homes raided. Richard Medhurst was detained and interrogated at Heathrow over his reporting. David Miller was also stopped under counter-terrorism powers after returning from Lebanon. Their real crime? Daring to expose the UK's role in Israel's genocide in Gaza.
Did you see that video? I think it came out yesterday or the day before of the Israeli team, the soccer team, the football team, soccer as we call it in America, coming out of the field. All the fans turned around and turned their backs, and then the coach of the Italian team started screaming at them before the match, saying that they were butchers. And then, by the way, they proceeded to kick their ass. But, you know, it's just, I've never seen something like that in a sporting event where the athletes.
I've been in this cause for 50 years. Don't tell the wife, she thinks I'm 45. 50 years I've been in the Palestinian. Now, in the beginning, you could have fitted all of us into this studio. It's a big studio, but you could have fitted everybody in Britain that thought like me into this studio. Now it's everybody. Now, only the real knuckle draggers are continuing to support Netanyahu and Israel. And I don't believe it's ever going to change. It's no more.
But what can it lead to?
Confident moment.
Okay, but if it doesn't change and it continues and it just gets worse, until the United States says we've had enough, I don't see a change in terms of their behavior. Do you?
Your Congress is bought and paid for by the Israel lobby. Everybody knows that. They don't even make they don't even try and disguise it. There's people whose names I've never heard, from places I've never heard of, getting seven-figure sums from the Israel lobby. So bought and paid for.
Or becoming FBI directors or CIA directors.
Yes, quite. And so until that changes, you're right. It's going to be Israel and America against the world. But that's not a good place for America to be. Why would America want to be in that place for a country of 8 million people on the Mediterranean? How is that in your interests? If you really believe in making America great again, if you really believe in America first, eventually it's got to dawn on legislators, certainly has dawned already on their voters, that we have to stop digging deeper and deeper and deeper into this rabbit hole. And I believe that that will happen. I know America is not a perfect democracy. Nowhere is. But no government can forever fly in the face of the sincerely held opinion of its people. And I don't believe yours will either.
So you start with this angry character. You go, what's funny about that? Well, he's rude to people. Is he clever? He's sort of clever. Is he malicious? Yeah, but he's also got a conscience. So you're already mixing these things up. You know, he wants to hurt someone's feelings, but then he feels guilty, so maybe he shouldn't. It's not Marvel. It's not someone who's always really good and someone who's always really bad. Everyone's a mixture of all those things. Bad people do good things sometimes, and good people do bad things sometimes.
To hear the words spoken by an armed policeman, his jacket off so you can gaze at his sidearm, that you are not under arrest, but you are not free to leave. To hear the words spoken, you do not have the right to remain silent. To hear the words spoken, that if you do not comply and cooperate and answer any and all of my questions, you will be automatically committing an offence under the Act. That's when I really knew that liberty in England, in Britain, in this once proud democratic country, a country that for many centuries boasted of the Magna Carta, many centuries boasted of its reasonableness, of its moderate nature, and castigated all others around the globe for falling short of our standards. That's when I knew that we as a country are in serious trouble. Fascism is on the march in the West, not dressed in swastikas, but in liberal garb. Under the cloak of liberalism, everything that liberalism said that it stood for is being abolished. Here in Britain, a 61-year-old woman, Sarah Wilkinson, admired and respected across the land, was raided and arrested by 12 police officers. 12! Some of them wearing balaclavas, for a tweet that she wrote some time ago defending the Palestinians from genocide. And in France, little Macron is going nap. Not only did he arrest the owner, founder of Telegram, Pavel Durov, having invited him to dinner at the Elysee in fine mafioso tradition. He's run Rumble out of town, and he's playing footsie with Marine Le Pen, defying the result of his own general election, called by himself. And in Palestine, the killing goes on and on and on.
The other thing is this ridiculous thing of, oh, let's ask the average person what they think. Let's stop asking the average person what they... Do you know how f***ing stupid the average person is? We still sell bottles of bleach with big labels on that say, do not drink, right? Let's take those labels off, right? For 2 years, and then have a referendum.
I like it. I like creating something. I don't know. I like exploring. I like seeing what I can do. I like doing things that I'm interested in. I think that's probably where it starts. But formally, like you like David Bowie, so you want to be a pop star, or you like David Beckham, so you want to be a footballer. Well, that's not creativity, is it? That's it as a job. I think we're all creative. I think we're born with it. I think, if anything, it's sort of beaten out of us. Because I think playing is being creative. I think you have to play. And kids are creative. They come up with stuff. Imaginary friends, you know, building things up. My mum told me once, right, when I used to sort of play Cowboys and Indians by myself, loser, also Native American, racist, 5-year-old Ricky, right? I used to play Cowboys and Native Americans down the bottom of the garden. And sometimes I'd work myself up into a frenzy so much that I'd run in, I'd scare myself and I'd hide from these imaginary... So, yeah, creativity can tip over to being a bit mental at 5 and 6. So I think we always want to try stuff. I think it's part of intelligence, trying stuff out, seeing stuff, and then you do it more formally when you're aware of it. But I think you're right. I think it's playing, and I think a lot of it is seeing someone else's reaction, particularly with comedy. Like, I would say daft things to see what someone else would say back. And I didn't mind their reaction. I didn't mind whether they laughed or got angry or got confused. I'm still a bit like that. So I think I do it. It would make me laugh. If I say a joke and someone doesn't get it, that makes me laugh. I just want to see what happens. I just want to see what happens.
What was it? I introduced Snapchat to Grandad.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know what was going on because a number of times people say, can I take a selfie? And it's on video. And so what they've now got is 5 seconds of me grinning, like thinking it's a still, which is, and you did that and I'm looking at it and it does look like...
Yeah. And what happens now? Oh. I don't know what is going on. I've got a spot. Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Good edit there. A big spot made its debut last night.
That was your +1.
Yeah, Ricky and his spot. I know. Oh, does that need a seat? How can I still be getting spots at 55? I didn't get spots as a teenager.
It's not coming out now.
It's stress, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Do you get stressed at things like that, though? The premiere of your film?
What? Going out in front of thousands of people in Leicester Square pretending to be a rock star? Yeah, I get a bit stressed.
What are you like with reading reviews of things and like that? Do you bother? Does it bother you?
I don't worry about it. I don't worry about whether people, like it or not. But I did it first, and the first review I ever read from The Office, so I just came into this game, you know, I thought, I hope it does well. The first review, the headline was Summer Stinker. It was summer, and it said things like, Gervais sometimes fluffs his lines. Like I'd have left that in. And I thought, this is going well. Then someone else comes out with a 5-star review, and then it's you get on with it, and you're on to the next thing. No, it doesn't affect me now. Twitter's made me just realise that nothing matters. It's like most of the things you read on the internet is just like walking around reading every toilet wall in the world. Do you know what I mean? It's virtual.
That's an idea for a BBC Three show.
Yeah, Greg James with every toilet wall in the world. It's not bad, is it?
It's quite good, actually.
Yeah, get that on. It's just so as people say, like the Golden Globes, do you get nervous? Are you worried about what people think? You're worried about the backlash? You're worried about, and I'm not worried about any of those things. I'm not worried about whether people like the joke or not, whether people hate it, whether the press hate it. I'm worried about delivering the jokes correctly. Yeah. That's all I worry about. You know, it's like taking a penalty. If you score, it doesn't matter what they think of your run-up or you know what I mean? Yeah. You scored. So as long as I deliver the joke well, I don't care whether people hate it or gasp or get offended or anything. But you want to do a good job, and that's all you care about, the work.
What drives you to keep creating new things? Because
it's fun.
Okay.
It's fun.
It's a fun thing.
I can't not think stuff. Do you know what I mean? And I'm in the position where if I think something and I like the idea of it, I can put that into motion. I can have an idea in the bath. I get ideas in the bath.
We see them.
The ideas I get in the bath. And I can call someone and say, I want to do this. This is my next thing. This is my next big thing. And they go, you in the bath? I go, yeah. No. I can't not do it. When I finish a job, I go, I'm exhausted. I'm glad that's over. I get half a day's thinking, and I have an idea. As soon as you relax, you get an idea for your next thing.
Yeah.
I go for a jog and I come up with one joke or an idea. And you never know what it is when it's in your head. It could be a stand-up piece. You could put it in a narrative piece, you know. But it's just fun having ideas and then making them. That's why I do it. Also, the money's mental.
The best way to increase society's resistance to insulting or offensive speech is to allow a lot more of it. My starting point when it comes to the consideration of any issue relating to free speech is my passionate belief that the second most precious thing in life is the right to express yourself freely. The most precious thing in life, I think, is food in your mouth, and the third most precious is a roof over your head. But a fixture for me in the number 2 slot is free expression, just below the need to sustain life itself. That is because I have enjoyed free expression in this country all my professional life, and fully expect to continue to do so. Personally, I suspect highly unlikely to be arrested for whatever laws exist to contain free expression because of the undoubtedly privileged position that is afforded to those of a high public profile. So my concerns are less for myself and more for those more vulnerable because of their lower profile. Like the man arrested in Oxford for calling a police horse gay. Or the teenager arrested for calling the Church of Scientology a cult. Or the cafe owner arrested for displaying passages from the Bible on a TV screen.
When I approached stand-up, my mission statement was to try and be as funny as you are in the pub. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
So I didn't want it to be too tricksy, or I played a slight persona because I always do that anyway. I do that. We do that here, you know. So it was saying the wrong thing for comic effect, or being naughty, or trying to get people to laugh at things they didn't know they could. And I've always doubted Taboo for that reason, because I think it's more exciting.
Sure.
You want to take the audience to a place it hasn't been before. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and get them to laugh at things they didn't think they would enjoy.
Exactly. And this show is all about that. It's all about, there are no bad subjects for jokes. It depends what the joke is. You know, we've talked about this a lot, you know, and I talk about the most taboo subjects and I discuss them and then give an example of the joke. And by the end, they're cracking up, and then knowing they get it. They sort of get, oh yeah. If you start off with a joke in that subject, it's, oh, why has he done that? Because they don't know where you're coming from. And that's the other thing about this tour. People know me now, so they know what I'm doing. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
absolutely.
a friend, like a mate knows you don't mean it. These 5,000 strangers every night. No, I don't mean it.
Right.
Do you know? So
they know what they're in for. They know what to expect.
They know what they're in for, and they love it. And it's almost like they're going, "Oh, he's always done this," but I don't think we quite got it before. Well, I think that's because I can justify it. I'm not one of these. I'm not one of these comedians who goes, "Oh, it was just a joke," because I don't really do that. I think it has to stand up on its own, comedic legs. And I talk about this, that, offence is often caused when people mistake the subject of a joke with the target. They don't look at the joke. They've been told this ridiculous dogma that some subjects shouldn't be joked about, which is a nonsense. And I get asked, is there anything you won't joke about? And I think, well, you're a journalist. Is there anything you won't write about?
Right.
It depends what you write. And it's funny, because whenever I've done a joke about a really contentious subject or, and it's discussed on the radio the next day, I'm going, but you're talking about it.
Yeah.
You're talking about it because they assume I'm coming it from the wrong direction. They assume I'm punching down, and they assume I'm making fun of whatever the victim is in this joke, which isn't true. Because a joke about something it doesn't have to be pro or anti. It can be either. It can be neither. It can punch nowhere. It can be a pun.
Right.
It doesn't. You have to take every single joke on its merit. Picked on the wrong person there, but I did a joke at the Golden Globes, and they were saying it was transphobic, and I said, why? And they said it was about a trans person. I said, well, that's like saying a joke about Bill Cosby is racist.
Right.
It depends what the joke is. It wasn't transphobic at all. The joke I told at the Golden Globes, I came out and I said, all the actors are looking at me all nervously, brilliant, and I said, relax, I'm going to be nice tonight. I've changed. Not as much as Bruce Jenner.
That's
obviously.
funny.
And I go, now Caitlyn Jenner, and what a year she's had, became a role model for trans people everywhere, bravely breaking down barriers and destroying stereotypes. She didn't do a lot for women drivers. So the subject of that joke is clearly stereotypes.
And by the way, like, the thing that people should, even if they're going to take umbrage with something, it should be like, wait a minute, wasn't that a thing? Somebody died in that car accident that he's referencing.
Yeah.
But nobody even picks up on that.
I discuss it. I say, let's not forget the target of the joke is a celebrity, someone in their car.
Yeah. And they also said you dead named, Travis reminded me that you dead named.
That's it. I talk about that as well. Dead naming, which is ever saying that her old name and that she used to be a man. Yeah. And then I say, but she was. And then I do the thing about she was in the Olympic Games, and I act out, and so and I say, and I was second. My second crime was saying that he'd changed, because they say, people, that she hasn't changed, that she's always identified as a woman, and so that, she had gender realignment. And I discuss it in the live. I discuss all the criticisms of me, and then I say my piece, because I think it can be funny to deconstruct, particularly when you're the butt of the joke, or you're, and so I always try and keep it fair. I don't ever do a sleight of hand where I say something that's a lie or to make myself look better in a joke.
Right.
I think that's really important. I think that, and then once you've done your best and you've explained it well, people are still going to make their own mind. They don't have to like it. They don't even have to get it. But someone not getting your joke isn't your problem. It's theirs. Brilliant. Why isn't it your responsibility to get the joke?
Yeah.
That's a great. And the other thing I get is whenever, like in the press, a joke of mine is discussed as being offensive, I don't mind that at all. But when they get the joke wrong, that drives me mad. I go, well, no, that's not the joke I said. That isn't a good joke. A joke should be perfect. Every word matters. It's like a cryptic crossword clue. Every word matters. It's a little piece of poetry, right? So if you get one of those things wrong, you can the whole joke. The answer is, again, it depends on the joke. I really break it down. It's so much fun. It's such a great platform to be able to put your side forward and discuss humour in a funny way. And so you're taking them along with you all the way. You're explaining. They're hearing every word from your side, and then it takes a long time to explain what humour is to someone, if they or freedom of speech, or this is the reason is the more terrible and emotive the subject, the harder it is to get over the hump about a joke about it.
Right. Yeah.
We can joke about, people joke about and people get it. They go, which is horrendous. But they can't take that personally because they haven't personally been. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if you do something that touches someone or a group of people, and it's it's very, very emotive. It's hard for them to get over that. The number of times people have seen my stand-up, and I've had one complaint. I did the first time I played Madison Square Garden. I got a complaint from a Jewish society saying we loved the show, we loved all the we were, however, unhappy about a routine about Anne Frank, and they tell me it's like, I said, but you got the jokes about famine and cancer and AIDS, and you got those. I said, I'm doing the same thing with her as I did with those things. I'm saying the wrong thing, and they went, oh yes, okay, we understand it. And sometimes you do need that, and I don't begrudge people because they're not attuned to it. We think about these things every day. A 30-second joke, we've probably put 3 hours work into it. Do you know what I mean? Or thought about it, or introspected, we are presenting them with a finished item, but that's the tip of the iceberg. And so sometimes they do have to get over there. It's hard to, by definition, to see your own blind spot, because everyone's got their thing they don't want to joke about. People say things, are you ever offended by things? I go, I'm offended every day. I'm offended by loads of things. I'm not immune to being offended.
You just don't want a penalty imposed.
Well,
if you're
exactly,
offended.
You avoid the things you're offended by.
Yeah, that's the other thing about today. People think that they have the right, because they don't want to hear something bad, that it's their right to shut you up, as opposed to it's their right not to listen. And that's the confusion as well. And it's not that I think I'm bulletproof or I don't care or they can't do anything about it. Although all those things are true. No. If I'm not breaking the law and they're not coming to my house, who cares? It's virtual,
right,
It's not that. It's that I'm confident in that I've done right. I don't think I've done a really bad thing and I can get away with it. F you. I think no, I've done a right thing here. I justify every one of my jokes as an okay thing to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not saying, because that doesn't make sense. I can't say, yeah, I do bad things, but so what? I wouldn't do them if I thought they were bad things. So I'm disagreeing with them that what I've done is a bad thing. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
And I try and get across to people that jokes about a bad thing isn't the same as the actual bad thing. It's not even condoning the bad thing. It could be anti the bad thing. Otherwise, we wouldn't have satire and irony. Yeah, well, so I think sometimes it depends. Some people are just trolls. Some people just want to ruin your day. They get in the way. They jump in the way of a bullet and say, "Why are you shooting at me?"
Yeah, and people love to be martyrs.
Oh, they think everything's personal. I don't even know they're following me. I don't know these people. I'm just tweeting, and they take it personally. They go, "Why are you tweeting?" I'm not tweeting you. You've come to my house, knocked on my door, and said, "Why are you talking to me?" Well, I'm not. So
when I heard of some of these more ludicrous offences and charges, I remembered that I had been here before in a fictional context. I once did a show called Not the 9 O'Clock News some years ago, and we did a sketch where Griff Rhys-Jones played Constable Savage, a manifestly racist police officer to whom I, as his station commander, is giving a dressing down for arresting a black man on a whole string of ridiculous, trumped-up and ludicrous charges. The charges for which Constable Savage arrested Mr. Winston Kadogo of 55 Mercer Road were these: walking on the cracks in the pavement, walking in a loud shirt in a built-up area during the hours of darkness, and one of my favourites, walking around all over the place. He was also arrested for urinating in a public convenience and looking at me in a funny way. Who would have thought that we would end up with a law that would allow life to imitate art so exactly? I read somewhere a defender of the status quo claiming that the fact that the gay horse case was dropped after the arrested man refused to pay the fine, and that the Scientology case was also dropped at some point during the court process, was proof that the law was working well, ignoring the fact that the only reason these cases were dropped was because of the publicity that they had attracted. The police sensed that ridicule was just around the corner and withdrew their actions. But what about the thousands of other cases that did not enjoy the oxygen of publicity, that weren't quite ludicrous enough to attract media attention? Even for those actions that were withdrawn, people were arrested, questioned, taken to court, and then released. You know, that isn't a law working properly. That is censoriousness of the most intimidating kind, guaranteed to have, as Lord Dear says, a chilling effect on free expression and free protest. Parliament's Joint Committee on Human Rights summarised, as you may know, this whole issue very well by saying, while arresting a protester for using threatening or abusive speech may, depending on the circumstances, be a proportionate response, we do not think that language or behaviour that is merely insulting should ever be criminalised in this way. The clear problem with the outlawing of insult is that too many things can be interpreted as such. Criticism is easily construed as insult by certain parties. Ridicule easily construed as insult. Sarcasm, unfavourable comparison, merely stating an alternative point of view to the orthodoxy can be interpreted as insult. And because so many things can be interpreted as insult, it is hardly surprising that so many things have been, as the examples I talked about earlier show. Although the law under discussion has been on the statute book for over 25 years, it is indicative of a culture that has taken hold of the programmes of successive governments, that with the reasonable and well-intentioned ambition to contain obnoxious elements in society, has created a society of an extraordinarily authoritarian and controlling nature. That is what you might call the new intolerance, a new but intense desire to gag uncomfortable voices of dissent. I am not intolerant, say many people, say many softly spoken, highly educated, liberal-minded people. I'm only intolerant of intolerance. And people tend to nod sagely and say, oh yes, wise words, wise words. And yet if you think about this supposedly inarguable statement for longer than 5 seconds, you realise that all it is advocating is the replacement of one kind of intolerance with another, which to me doesn't represent any kind of progress at all. Underlying prejudices, injustices, or resentments are not addressed by arresting people. They are addressed by the issues being aired, argued, and dealt with, preferably outside the legal process. For me, the best way to increase society's resistance to insulting or offensive speech is to allow a lot more of it. As with childhood diseases, you can better resist those germs to which you have been exposed. We need to build our immunity to taking offence so that we can deal with the issues that perfectly justified criticism can raise. Our priority should be to deal with the message, not the messenger. As President Obama said in an address to the United Nations only a month or so ago, laudable efforts to restrict speech can become a tool to silence critics or oppress minorities. The strongest weapon against hateful speech is not repression, it is more speech. And that's the essence of my thesis, more speech. If we want a robust society, we need more robust dialogue, and that must include the right to insult or to offend. And even if, as Lord Dear says, the freedom to be inoffensive is no freedom at all. The repeal of this word in this clause will be only a small step, but it will, I hope, be a critical one in what should be a longer-term project to pause and slowly rewind a creeping culture of censoriousness. It is a small skirmish in the battle, in my opinion, to deal with what Sir Salman Rushdie refers to as the outrage industry. Self-appointed arbiters of the public good, encouraging media-stoked outrage to which the police feel under terrible pressure to react. A newspaper rings up Scotland Yard. Someone has said something slightly insulting on Twitter about someone who we think a national treasure. What are you going to do about it? And the police panic and they scrabble around and then grasp the most inappropriate lifeline of all. Section 5 of the Public Order Act, that thing where you can arrest anybody for saying anything that might be construed by anyone else as insulting. You know, they don't seem to need a real victim. They need only to make the judgment that somebody could have been offended if they had heard or read what has been said. The most ludicrous degree of latitude. The storms that surround Twitter and Facebook comment have raised some fascinating issues about free speech, which we haven't really yet come to terms with. Firstly, that we all have to take responsibility for what we say, which is quite a good lesson to learn. But secondly, we've learned how appallingly prickly and intolerant society has become of even the mildest adverse comment. The law should not be aiding and abetting this new intolerance. Free speech can only suffer if the law prevents us from dealing with its consequences. I offer my wholehearted support to the Reform Section 5 campaign. Thank you very much.